Hello and welcome to the Investing Iguana, where we talk about all things related to money, finance, and investing. I'm your host, Iggy, and today we're going to talk about a serious topic that affects many families around the world: gambling addiction. If you have a son who is struggling with a gambling problem, you may be feeling helpless, frustrated, and worried. You may wonder how you can help him stop gambling and get his life back on track. Well, don't worry, because in this video, I'm going to share with you 7 sure ways to get your son to quit gambling forever. But before we get into the tips, please do me a favor and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Alright, let's get started. First of all, what is gambling addiction and how do you know if your son has a gambling problem? Gambling addiction is a behavioral addiction that can lead to significant disruptions to daily life, finances, and relationships. It is characterized by an uncontrollable urge to gamble, even when it has negative consequences for oneself or others. Gambling addiction can affect anyone from any walk of life, regardless of age, gender, education, or income level. Some of the signs and symptoms of gambling addiction include the following. A. Gambling more than he can afford to lose. If your son is gambling more money than he has, or taking out loans to gamble, that's a sign of a problem. B. Chasing losses. If your son is gambling more and more in an attempt to win back money he's lost, that's also a sign of a problem. C. Lying or hiding his gambling activities. If your son is lying to you about his gambling, or trying to hide it from you, that's a big red flag. D. Borrowing or stealing money to gamble. If your son is borrowing or stealing money to gamble, that's a serious problem. E. Neglecting his responsibilities or obligations because of gambling. If your son is neglecting his schoolwork, job, or other responsibilities because of gambling, that's a sign that his problem is getting out of control. F. Feeling restless, irritable, or anxious when not gambling. If your son feels restless, irritable, or anxious when he's not gambling, that's a sign that he's physically and emotionally addicted to gambling. G. Losing interest in other hobbies or activities that he used to enjoy. If your son is losing interest in hobbies or activities that he used to enjoy, that's another sign that he's becoming addicted to gambling. G. Having trouble controlling or stopping his gambling behavior. If your son says he wants to stop gambling, but he can't seem to control his behavior, that's a sign that he needs professional help. H. Experiencing financial difficulties or legal problems because of gambling. If your son is experiencing financial difficulties or legal problems because of his gambling, that's a sign that his problem is serious and needs to be addressed. I. Feeling guilty, ashamed, or depressed because of his gambling. If your son is feeling guilty, ashamed, or depressed because of his gambling, that's a sign that he's aware that he has a problem and needs help. If you recognize any of these signs in your son, then he may have a gambling problem and need help. Gambling addiction is a serious mental health condition that can have devastating effects on his personal and professional life. But the good news is that gambling addiction can be treated and overcome with the right support and guidance. Here are 7 helpful tips from experts on how to stop gambling addiction. Tip 1. Recognize the problem. The first step to recovery is admitting that there is a problem and that you need help. If your son is in denial or refuses to acknowledge his gambling issue, you may need to intervene and confront him with the facts and consequences of his behavior. You can also encourage him to take a self-assessment test online or visit a counselor or therapist who specializes in gambling addiction. Tip 2. Remove the stigma. Many people with gambling problems feel ashamed or embarrassed about their condition and may avoid seeking help for fear of being judged or criticized. You can help your son by showing him compassion and understanding and reassuring him that he is not alone or weak for having a gambling problem. You can also educate yourself and him about the nature and causes of gambling addiction and dispel any myths or misconceptions that he may have. Tip 3. Seek professional help. Gambling addiction is not something that can be easily overcome by willpower alone. It requires professional treatment and support from qualified experts who can provide counseling, therapy, medication, or other interventions that are tailored to your son's specific needs and goals. You can help your son by finding a reputable treatment program or facility near you and encouraging him to enroll and follow through with his treatment plan. Tip 4. Join a support group. One of the most effective ways to stop gambling addiction is to join a support group where you can meet other people who have gone through similar experiences and challenges as you. Support groups can provide you with emotional support, practical advice, coping skills, and motivation to stay on track with your recovery. You can help your son by finding a local or online support group that suits his preferences and needs and attending meetings with him or on your own. Tip 5. Avoid triggers and temptations. Gambling addiction is often triggered by certain situations, people, places, or emotions that make you want to gamble. You can help your son by identifying his triggers and temptations and helping him avoid them or cope with them in healthy ways. For example, you can help him limit his access to money or credit cards, block gambling websites or apps on his devices, stay away from casinos or betting shops, find alternative activities or hobbies that he enjoys, manage his stress levels and emotions effectively. Tip 6. Set boundaries and consequences. Gambling addiction can affect not only your son but also you and your family. You can help your son by setting clear and realistic boundaries and consequences for his gambling behavior and sticking to them. For example, you can decide how much money you are willing to lend or give him, how much time you are willing to spend with him, how much involvement you are willing to have in his treatment and recovery, and what actions you will take if he violates your boundaries or breaks your rules. You can also help him by holding him accountable for his actions and choices and rewarding him for his progress and achievements. Tip 7. Take care of yourself. Dealing with a son who has a gambling problem can be stressful, exhausting, and overwhelming. You can help your son by taking care of yourself and your own well-being. You can do this by seeking your own professional help or support group if needed, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, engaging in self-care activities, setting aside time for yourself, reaching out to your friends or family for support, and remembering that you are not responsible for his gambling problem or recovery. These are some of the ways that you can help your son stop gambling addiction forever. Remember that gambling addiction is a treatable condition and that recovery is possible with the right help and support. You don't have to face this problem alone or give up hope. You can help your son overcome his gambling problem and regain control of his life. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps us to understand what kind of content you want to see more of. And don't forget to subscribe. Here at the Investing Iguana, we're dedicated to helping you navigate your financial journey with confidence and clarity. And guess what? There's plenty more where this came from. Stay tuned for our upcoming videos, where we'll tackle other interesting financial topics like the best investment strategies, understanding the stock market, and how to make your money work harder for you. As always, we're thrilled to have you as part of our Investing Iguana community. Your support helps us keep producing free content like this. Remember, every like, share, and subscribe goes a long way. Thanks for joining us today. Keep investing, keep growing, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.